Good evening, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11 Alive Weather Impact Team. We're breaking down in a long-form update here on what to expect with the winter weather that we are going to be seeing as we get toward the end of the week. There is a weather impact alert in effect for Friday and Saturday. The main things we're going to be watching will be some moisture moving in with the cold air that is already in place, and that is going to mix in to form some snow, some sleet, some freezing rain and cold rain all throughout our area. Depending on where you are, that will determine what type of precip you see, and that's what we're going to be breaking down for you coming up in just a few minutes. So here's what you need to do. Number one, you need to pay attention this week. Just because I'm telling you this tonight doesn't mean that it won't change for the next couple of days. This is an evolving forecast, and you'll want to check back with us each day so that we can talk more and more about any changes that we're seeing in the models. But I just want you to be prepared, though, for the end of the week. You're going to want to use caution driving out there. We do expect to have some impacts on the roads as this system moves in once we get toward the end of the week. I'm also chatting with folks on Facebook Live. Every once in a while, you'll see me looking off screen here, and I'm going to check to see if any folks have any questions on there that I'll be answering throughout this long form update as well. So let's break it down. Let me show you what we're watching out there right now. We've had a lot of people ask, you know, when is the last time we actually had snow here in the Atlanta area? The last measurable snow here was only 1/10 of an inch of snow on December 26th at 2022. Now, some of you in other areas may remember some other times since then where we've actually had some snow around, but this is the last official measurable snow for Atlanta. And again, that was back in 2022. The last time we had 1 inch or more of snow, well, that was back in 2018 on January 17th when we had 2.3 inches of snow that moved in during that time frame. So it has been a while. We are kind of overdue to see some snow here, but nothing looks like snow out there right now. We have clear skies, and the only thing that is part of the recipe for snow right now is the very cold air that we have in place right now. Also, we're looking out to the west because this system is going to be coming out from the west. However, it hasn't even developed yet, and that's what makes it tricky to follow there or to forecast when a system hasn't even developed yet. We're totally trusting on the models and what it's showing us that it's going to be moving on in. Once the low develops and we get a better handle on the track, we're going to be able to fine-tune this forecast more and more. And even now, we're beginning to feel a little more comfortable with the consistency in what we are seeing in the models of some of the potential impacts that are going to be coming through. So right now, during the evening hours, this is at 9 o'clock on Tuesday evening, we just went down to 32 degrees. So we're at the freezing mark officially here in Atlanta. Most places outside the city are at least at freezing or a little bit lower. Athens is one of the only spots that's still above freezing right now, where it is 35 degrees. And we're going to watch these temperatures falling very quickly during the overnight hours, waking up in the 20s here by Wednesday morning. But still, it is going to be dry. So we'll be dry the next couple of days on your Wednesday and on your Thursday. It's going to be on Friday when we begin to see more of this moisture that is going to be moving in. And it's all from this. It's that developing area of low pressure along the Gulf Coast region. And depending on the track that this system takes, that is going to determine what type of weather we will have. We were saying the past couple of days here, if that low tracked up closer to Atlanta, that would spread more warmer air and more moist air over into our area to make it more of a rain event. But with the low tracking more down to the south, which we feel pretty confident that that is going to be the track that's going to happen, the rain would mainly be to the south, but the cold air to the north, and with that rain moving up and into that, that is what gives us the potential for some winter weather that will be moving into our area. So let me show you the forecast track first of what we're watching. And again, Wednesday, it's going to be cold in the morning, lows in the 20s, highs in the lower 40s. We're going to see plenty of sunshine during the day. No real weather impacts here for your Wednesday as far as any precipitation. The bigger impact is going to be the really cold air that is going to be in place. Pretty similar, excuse me, to what we had out there for today. Thursday, same thing. In the morning, really cold, in the 20s. In the afternoon, lower 40s once again, but we'll be staying dry. But what I want you to notice here, off to the west, the clouds are building there back into Alabama. That's going to start moving in overnight into Friday morning. And there you see the moisture with that beginning to move in as well, with some snow and also a winter mix. The white and blue colors that you see here on the map, that's indicating the snow back into Alabama. This is early on Friday morning at about 5 o'clock in the morning. This is going to be knocking on the door to the line there in West Georgia, the Georgia-Alabama line. The pink color you see back in Alabama, those are the areas expected to see more of a winter mix, where we can see rain mixing in with sleet, or even the potential for some freezing rain over in those spots too. Here we go into the morning hours on Friday. This is at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you see that snow that's spreading in over more of North Georgia, the winter mix around Atlanta and down to the south, and then more of that rain down in central Georgia. Now here's the deal. This is still a few days out, and these models are going to be changing a little bit from day to day. So again, just another reminder that what I'm telling you there for right now, it may change a little bit tomorrow, again, depending on this track. So just know that right now we're giving you just an idea of what we're expecting and showing you what the models that are trying to get a little more consistent are showing us right now. And we're feeling a little more confident that we will at least have some sort of winter weather here over North Georgia and Metro Atlanta going into Friday as well as into your Saturday. Let's advance more through the day on Friday. Notice that the better coverage of snow will be in North Georgia, generally roughly along and north of the line from of I-20. Metro Atlanta southward is where we're going to see more of that mix, that pink color. And then all the greens and yellows you see down into central Georgia, that's where it's going to be mainly all rain. So that's kind of the dividing line, roughly along I-20 is where we're going to see that kind of going back and forth between rain and or snow and or sleet or freezing rain mixing in as well. But North Georgia, areas north of, really North Metro and northward, is where we're going to see that better coverage of snow moving in. Now, once we get into later in the day and the nighttime on Friday, we might actually see some slightly warmer air moving in, and that's why you see that snow line coming more up to the north, and we see more of that mix that's going to be moving in. Here's a look at our model comparison for Friday afternoon. Now, I just showed you the graph model. This is the American model, or the GFS, and then also the European model, which shows still some differences in the models as to the coverage of snow and that kind of rain snow line as well. But again, they are starting to get a little more consistent on that timing and showing where that coverage is going to be. So it's our job as meteorologists, not just to say, here's what the American model says, here's what the European model says, but it's our job as meteorologists to look at those models, and we look at them as guidance. We're not only using these two models, but also we have some high definition models that are coming in. The North American model, the National Blend of Models is coming in that takes all the models together. And from that, we are breaking down what we think is going to happen here with these precipitation types. So here's what I'm breaking down right now. And again, we've got folks over on Facebook Live. I'm checking in. We've got about 800 viewers there on Facebook Live right now. Celia is saying thanks for this update. Ursula is saying hello. Celia saying thanks. Francine says she's praying for snow in Tequila. Let's see here. Carmen is thanking us for the update as well. Carolyn Rand is saying thank you for preparing us too. So here's the breakdown of what we're watching first with the precipitation types. And this is pretty similar to what I was showing you there on the models here, where again, roughly along I-20, and I have people ask me all the time, what is so magical about I-20 that it seems like things happen north of I-20 and different things happen south of I-20? Well, there's not really anything that I-20 happens or makes for weather to be different north or south, but it's just a good dividing line where we often see the differences there with those temperature boundaries, where you see the snow to a possible mix there from Atlanta northward, that most likely area of mainly snow with just a little bit of winter mix in far north Georgia, and then more of that rain and a little bit of winter mix on the south side, and more of the rain that's on the south, more on the south side too. Here's the potential for any accumulating snow. There's a 60% chance, again along I-20 and northward, that we would have some accumulating snow. 80% chance in far north Georgia we would see a little bit more. And then on that south side, it all is going to depend on that track and how much of that moisture moves up and mixes in with the cold air, or how much that low will push warmer air up to the north. So there's a lot that we have to watch there. So here's a look at the snow comparison. Again, these are just two model scenarios, and what I don't want you to get caught up on here is what each of those colors shows. What I want you to realize there is, this is showing that purple showing 4 to 5 inches of snow. However, with these models, they're taking the moisture content and converting that to what it would be for all snow. The problem is the ratio, which is usually 10 to 1, meaning like a tenth of an inch of snow would be the equivalent of, a tenth of an inch of rain would be the equivalent of an inch of snow. We think the ratios are going to be a little different with this, and that's why I'm not totally going all in on these two models here, because I'm thinking that the snow totals will be a little bit less than what these models are showing. So that's why we didn't put specific numbers on here, but I'm showing you this just so that you can see that the higher amounts of snow are expected more to the north, and then south of I-20, those snow amounts are going to be a little bit lower. So it's from all the models that I just showed you there, that this is our first call, or our first estimation of what we think after looking at the models. And again, our job as meteorologists to break down all those models for you, to tell you what we think will be happening here. We think up in North Georgia, far North Georgia, those are the areas more likely to see 2 to 4 inches of snow. That would be roughly maybe northern Floyd County through Gordon County, Pickens County, Dawson County, White County to the north. That would be those areas that have the highest chance of seeing those higher amounts of 2 to 4 inches. South of that, down again roughly to I-20, close to Atlanta, is where we would see the potential of 1 to 3 inches. Now again, 1 inch of snow is not a guarantee on the north side, which is just kind of a general range of what we're seeing here. The other thing we have to add into that, though, is there is also the potential for a little bit of ice. 1/10 of an inch of ice. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but any glazing on trees or power lines with any wind blowing, that could bring down a couple of limbs. Now, the more critical that we look at when we're talking about ice amounts is when you get 1/4 of an inch of ice on trees or 1/2 inch of ice on trees. That's when you have a lot more power outages. So 1/10 of an inch, yes, that is impactful, especially if you have bridges and overpasses that get a glaze on them as well. That'll make things pretty slippery. So that's what we have to watch for. And what happens is we may get snow first, and then some freezing rain on top of that for a little bit of a glaze that's going to make it all kind of crunchy. That could add to some of those slick spots that we're going to see around there. The better chance of seeing a rain and winter mix and maybe some glazing on the south side with some of that freezing rain is more on the south side too, with really less than 1 inch of snow that could happen there, but maybe a little bit of ice that would be developing again to some of that winter mix area on the south side. Now, as I show you this map here, that you see, this is our hand-drawn map. This is not a computer model. This is what we are predicting here based on what we see in all the computer models. This is going to change, all right? We're 3 days out, and we've been telling you all along with winter weather forecasting, when you see people post maps 10 days prior to an event saying that we're going to get 12 to 17 inches of snow, that most likely isn't going to happen. You really can't pinpoint more of these numbers here until we get closer to the event, and that's what we're watching now. We're within 3 days of the event now, so that's why we're feeling a little more comfortable in coming up with these. But we know that tomorrow we may get some different data in, again, depending on that track. So we're going to be fine-tuning these amounts in those areas of those amounts too over the next few days. So here's a look at the Friday timeline. Let's break that down for you. In the morning hours on Friday, We are expecting some steady snow and that mix to start moving in from the west, from Alabama, pushing into the metro area. Let's say in West Georgia, it would be more like 4 to 5 in the morning, pushing through the metro area, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the morning, and then moving over to the east of us, between 8 and 10 o'clock, that leading edge of that snow and the winter weather moving in. So temperatures at that time are going to be at or below freezing. So whatever comes down could cause some slick spots on the road early in the morning and could make them slick. Now, I'm talking about untreated roads. The good thing is the DOT right now is very aggressive in treating these roads with brine. That helps to lower the freezing point of the surface there when water comes down, and helps to kind of delay any development of freezing or any icing on the road. So they're going to be really aggressive with that, but they can't treat every road. They start with all the interstates and some of the main secondary roads, but they can't treat your neighborhood roads. So those secondary roads, or some of those roads, are going to be the ones that do have some glazing on them too. In the afternoon, it looks like it'll be mostly snow to the north of us. Here in the metro Atlanta area, again, a mix off and on with some rain, freezing rain, sleet, or snow that could be coming through, and maybe a little bit of a mix to the south. Still, any snow-covered roads could be slick at times. Then, for the overnight hours, we could see some slightly warmer air coming in for a brief period and then cooling off again for the overnight. On Saturday morning, our low is expected to be around 31. So for much of the overnight hours, we may be just a little bit above freezing. So we could still see some snow with that, but hopefully not a buildup of a lot of frozen stuff on the road. So that's just going to be kind of tricky overnight Friday into early on Saturday, but just expect overnight the potential still for some snow, most of that mix and rain to the south of us, and that snow will be mixing a little bit up in North Georgia as well. And then the roads are going to be able to stay slick there, as we're going to be hovering close to the freezing mark. So here's a look at those low temperatures. This is going to be I just ran into the desk here. Sorry about that. I kind of jiggled everything. 25 for a low Wednesday, 22 Thursday, 29 Friday when that moisture starts to move in. So that's below freezing. Now Saturday morning will be at 31. All that moisture is going to get out of here. We may have some lingering impacts into Saturday after all the precip moves on out of here early. But then we'll be dry on Sunday, but it'll be down to 23. So whatever doesn't dry up or melt could be slick again on Sunday. Although we don't think it's going to be really widespread there on Sunday, because hopefully things will have an opportunity to kind of evaporate or sublimate, even if it goes directly from ice to evaporating there or into a gas. 41 for a high Wednesday and Thursday, 35 for a high on Friday. So we'll have just a few hours on Friday of temperatures above freezing. Then on Saturday, 37 for a high, maybe a few more hours of temperatures above freezing, and then 41 for a high on Sunday. That's after that morning low gets down into the 20s. So here's a look at the European model. I know I showed you these kind of side by side for Friday, but here's a look. Again, I'm not zooming in tight on this, because I'm just showing you these scenarios that the models are showing. Again, showing that moisture moving in, mixing in by Friday night, changing over to maybe some more areas of rain. And then by Saturday morning, a lot of that moisture is out of here. We just have to get rid of some of those clouds. Then we'll have more sunshine, drier weather going into Sunday, as well as on Monday and into Tuesday of next week. Here's the American model coming up here. You can still, again, see Friday morning, there's that winter weather moving in. This model shows the snow a little bit more to the south, and so some of that potentially staying with us. Again, those higher amounts to the north of us. And then again, the trend is that things will be ending on Saturday, exiting, moving out, and then the sunshine returns with more cold air as we get into the second half of the weekend, and staying cold for the first part of next week too. Plenty of things to watch out there over the next few days. So here is what we're watching with the 7-day outlook. Nice sunshine. It's just going to be cold here for Wednesday and Thursday. A low of 25 on Wednesday, a high of 41, 22 on Thursday, and a high of 41. That moisture comes in Friday and Saturday. That's when we have the weather impact alert for Friday and Saturday with that rain, snow, freezing rain, winter mix moving in. It's going to be really off and on for us all day on Friday with highs only up to 35. We are back down to 31 Saturday morning with a high of 37. The moisture's moving out. Sunshine returns. We're just going to have to see some of that, how much of that moisture is able to evaporate and dry up on all of the roads here, because it's going to be cold again on Sunday morning, and then more cold weather as we start next week, but it looks like it will be dry here for Sunday, Monday, and on Tuesday. Lows in the 20s and highs in the 40s. This has been a long stretch of temperatures well below the average. So here's what we're going to be watching. Here's the deal. Over the next few days, keep it with us. We'll keep trying to do updates here, streaming as well as online at 11alive.com. We're going to have a lot of updates too on 11 Alive News. So keep it with us, and we will keep you posted here throughout the period as we watch more with this unfolding weather event.